Good morning, everybody, and it is an early morning. It's only about 1:30, but I'm sitting here in a dock waiting to get unloaded and reading my Bible this morning and thinking a little bit about things. And I really wanted to share with you my favorite Bible verse, but it's going to be a little bit of a study in the book of John, chapter 3, just for a few short verses. So when I first got saved, I used to drive by a place, and actually for years before I got saved, I drove by a little place up by Rathdrum, Idaho, coming back into Spokane. They had a little sign out at the end of their driveway, or next to their driveway, that said JN, the letters JN, and the numbers 3, a colon, and 17. So John 3:17. I didn't know what that meant before I got saved. I thought it was like some kind of weird code or something, or, I don't know, maybe they were a member of the John Birch Society and they had some weird masonry symbol. I don't know. I didn't know anything about it. But then once I got saved, then I realized JN was the abbreviation for John. And I went, hey, John 3:17. Let's go look that up, right? So right off the bat, of course, being a brand new Christian, the first verse I learned, John 3:16, right? For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish, but have everlasting life. Every Christian that's worth his salt learned that within the first couple days and memorized it of being a Christian. They memorized that verse. That's a Bible verse that I would say 99.999% of all Christians have just etched in their heart. But so many of them seem to stop right there. Let's read on John 3:17. Let's read what my favorite verse is, and then we'll talk about it a little bit. For God did not send his Son into the world to condemn the world, but that the world through him might be saved. God didn't send Jesus here on his first trip to come here and just start hammering people with condemnation. He pointed out the faults of the Pharisees and the Sadducees and those religious leaders at the time, but he didn't condemn them. They condemned themselves. And I'm going to show you right here why I say that. But before I do, let me explain. John 3:17 to me is that verse that should remind us that we are not to condemn people. We are not to tell people you're going to hell because of, what you're doing. I dropped my Bible there. Sorry. Because of what they're doing. That's not our job. That judgment is going to come from Jesus at the end times on Judgment Day. That's what that stands for, Judgment Day. It's a day you stand before the judge, the ultimate judge. So it's not for us to do. We need to be like Jesus and treat everybody with love and respect and kindness. And I'm not the best at it. I'm really not. I mean, I sit in my truck when I'm going down the road and I think horrible things sometimes about people. But you know what? I never want anybody to go to hell. That's not what I want. That's not my job to do that. And I have to catch myself sometimes and really reflect on what I'm saying and what I'm doing. And as Christians, we all need to do this all the time. I think John 3:17 should be etched in our hearts and in our minds and in our souls to the point where the thought of condemning anybody is completely out of our thought process. Everybody's talking about the Olympics right now and how horrible that was. And I agree. It was a gross display of paganism. But I don't hate those people. They're lost. Those people need prayer. They need guidance. They need to see Jesus in a way that they have never seen him before, to come out of that pagan idolatry that they live in. And that's what we're here for. We are here to guide people and share our witness, or share our faith and witness to them. To be a witness, to what that means is to be that person to explain to somebody else why we believe what we believe and what we know. It's not even just a belief. We know it. We don't doubt it anywhere in our hearts. It is so ingrained in us from our experience with Jesus. And I talked about this in my last video. when you have an experience, nobody can take that away. You fall off of a mountain and break your leg and your hip, and they have to haul you out with a helicopter. Nobody can come to you and tell you, oh, that fall wasn't that bad. It was only 15 feet. You could have fell off the side of the mountain. Well, you're right. I could have fell all the way off the side, but it still was bad. It's traumatic. I had an experience. It's the same thing when you meet Jesus. It's an experience that nobody will ever be able to take away from you. And you should never let that happen. The world will try to convince you that it was just an emotional fart. That's what it was. I mean, it was nothing, you just felt it like you would indigestion and it's gone. No, it sticks with you your entire life. You never lose that. Hopefully. You'll have some dry seasons, but you'll never lose that. But now let's move on. Sorry, I've kind of digressed a little and moved off to the side there a little on what we're talking about. But John 3:17, Jesus didn't even condemn people when he was here the first time, right? And here's why. Let me explain to you why he didn't condemn them. In verse 18, it says, "He who believes in him," meaning Jesus, "is not condemned. But he who does not believe is condemned already, because he has not believed in the name of the only begotten Son of God." It's their unbelief that condemns people. It's not their sin. It's their unbelief. And their denial of the Son of God. That's what Jesus pointed out to the Pharisees. It's like, look, you don't understand. You deny me. Meaning you, and therefore you deny God. That's a scary place to be. I never want to be in that spot. I've always believed there was a God. And somehow I always knew Jesus was associated with him, but I didn't know how. I didn't know anything about it. I had people over the years come up to me and pray for me and tell me Jesus loves me and all. I'm like, oh, thanks. Get away from me, you freak, But here I am. All these years later, and in 2008, I had a miraculous encounter with Jesus. And nothing is going to take that away. Let's keep on reading here. Verse 19. "And this condemnation, let me rephrase this. And this is the condemnation, that the light has come into the world, and men love darkness rather than light, because their deeds were evil. For everyone practicing evil hates the light and does not come to the light, lest his deeds should be exposed." Evil people don't like to do things in the daylight where they might be exposed. They like to do things under the cover of darkness. It might be daylight outside, but they'll find a dark place to do the things that they do so people don't see them and they don't get caught. But God sees them. But let me read on. "But he who does the truth comes to the light, that his deeds may be clearly seen, that they have been done in God." The only way, I'm going to tell you right now, that we do any good is when God guides us and directs us to be good. That's all there is to it. Even an atheist who does good things, he's being, whether he believes it or not, is being directed by God to do those good things. He's not doing it of his own volition. I can assure you of that. If you really sit and reflect on who you are and how you are and what you do and how you act, you'll see that Jesus was right when he said that every thought and intent of the human heart is continually evil. But that's why John 3:17 is my favorite verse. Because we are commanded to not condemn those around us, because Jesus didn't do it. And I just, that's how I live my life. I don't tell anybody to go to hell. I don't tell anybody they're going to go to hell, regardless of how horrendous what they're doing might seem to me, because there's hope for everybody. There was hope for me. There's hope for you. You were saved. I was saved. They can be saved. remember that. So friends, I appreciate you, each and every one of you. Thank you so much again for watching. Father God, thank you so much for your blessed word and for sending your son here to take our punishment, the punishment that we deserved, upon himself, a sinless person. That's so amazing. Amazing grace. So much grace, so much love, so much mercy, and at an amazing cost. And yet it's free for you and for me and everybody else. Take care, everybody. I'm going to say this because I remember this. I don't have my evidence Bible with me. But when I used to listen to Way at the Master all the time, at the end of the program, and I think Todd Friel still says it on Wretched, he'll tell you to have a good day or whatever and go serve your king. Go serve your king. Be a servant to the Most High God, because he deserves that from us. Todd Friel actually met him at a pastor's conference. I think it was a Ligoniers conference they had in Billings back 7-8 years ago. And it was a pretty exciting moment. That guy is super tall, Todd Friel. I'm only 5'8", so anybody over 6 foot tall is like the Jolly Green Giant to me. I know this has nothing to do with what I'm talking about, but yeah, it was pretty amazing. So go serve your king. Everybody have a great day. May God richly bless you in everything that you do. Take care. See ya.